All right, everybody, welcome to NorCal Sports Network. And this is the same hat that Brock Purdy's dad wears. Chat loves it when Marty Lurie comes on.
Anytime you lose a game this time of year, when you can't go backwards, it's a problem.
Welcome on in, everybody. NorCal Sports Network. Thursday night, January 23rd. We're talking some Giants baseball tonight. We're brought to you by Chapman Law Group, everybody. If you have any legal issues you need help with, make sure you give Chapman Law Group a call at 415-613-9483. Come out in the link in the description of the video. Tell them NorCal Sports Network sent you. Also, Better, the official daily fantasy sponsor of NorCal Sports Network. Right up there in the top right-hand corner, everybody, BETR. Click on the link in the description. Or download the app, and don't forget the promo code NCSN for deposit match. $250 plus a free pick. All right, everybody, thanks for being here tonight. We're going to get right into this as we get the band to stay. Well, let them go a little bit longer while I get. All right, here we go. Come on, band. There we go. All right, there we go. And there's the number one more time for Chapman Law Group. Give them a call again if you have any legal matters. They will help you out for sure. All right, guys. Oops, I hit the wrong one. Where is this going? No, I keep hitting the. All right, what is going? There we go. Got it out of order. All right, Lou. We're going to be discussing tonight Buster Posey, Zach Minasian, however you've heard it pronounced a couple different ways. Will they succeed or fail as the front office that is leading the Giants into a new era? And they've got a lot to overcome, Lou, because Farhan Zaidi, you've heard the term left the cupboard empty. He not only left the cupboard empty, he filled it with
crumbs. And now ants have taken over. Crumbs.
Crumbs. Oh, man. Okay, so maybe what the Giants really need is some pest control.
They need something.
Okay. So, guys, we're going to talk about this team because there's a lot of holes, but there's some potential to fill it, but we don't know because the Giants never gave these kids an opportunity when they were awful. And so when you're awful is the time to play the kids. So you get a chance to see what they have. And if they can become something, I think this office is very inexperienced. Look at Graham. He says the same thing. Hey, Dan, in my humble opinion, Posey would have been better off being an assistant for a few years, and Minasian may have been better doing the same. It's a tall order to do as being asked, in my humble opinion. I agree, Graham, wholeheartedly, because this is a very difficult situation you're entering into when you have no experience. I don't know if the Giants are thinking like, oh, well, we can duplicate what the Niners did. John Lynch had no experience. He was a all-pro football player. And Kyle Shanahan had no head coaching experience, although he was an offensive coordinator for years. But look how they turned things around, and it took them their third year.
And Dan, you got to remember, Shanahan hired him. It wasn't the other way around.
Correct.
So, and I want to say one thing about the chat, because they gave Dan a bad time about the Niners this year. Okay. Dan said this Buster should have been an assistant for 2 to 3 years so he can understand it, because it's a lot different than being a player. And everybody in the chat gave Dan, what are you talking about? Buster's going to be able to do it. Oh, Buster. Well, you know what? We've seen our first off season, and it's not as easy. And maybe if the Giants took advice and listened to NorCal Sports and listened to Dan, we actually might be 2 steps ahead instead of 2 steps behind.
Yeah, and Dan froze, it looks like. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but you are frozen.
I am frozen. I'm looking at the frozen tundra here. You know, maybe because it's cold in Arizona. And
cold up here in the mornings.
Yeah, I bet if I took my shirt off right now, it would come back on.
Yeah, that's and sexy too. It's very sexy.
Yeah. Come on, what's going on? You can hear me, but you can't. I'm frozen, right?
Correct. Correct.
All right, let me zig out and zig back in.
No problem.
See what I can do here. Be right back. Wait, I removed.
Now I'm here. Hello.
Hold on here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. I got something. I've got to go check my router. Something's weird here. Hold on 1 second.
You got just a black screen now.
Yeah, I know. I don't know what's going on.
No problem.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. Hey, Troy, why are Giants so frustrated? I'll tell you why we're frustrated. Okay. That was 11 seasons ago we won a title. We've only been in the playoffs twice. Okay. We've only had a winning record since in 10 years. We've only had 1 winning record the second half of the season. We're the San Francisco Giants. We're the 5th biggest market. Okay. Right now we're mediocre. We're worse than mediocre. We're not even a 500 team. You're asking us why we're frustrated? Because we're real fans. It's pathetic. Why should I care about something that happened 10 years ago? Come on. Troy, that's why we're frustrated. We're frustrated because this team is going nowhere quickly. The 3 teams above us are better than us, and they have a plan. We have no plan. We hired a guinea pig named Buster Posey to run this. We have the wrong brother as our GM, and we have no future right now. We have one guy that we're hoping is going to be great, and with the pass of the Giants, something will probably happen. He'll get injured. It'll be a fluke play, and then we're going to be worse than we are. You know, it's frustrating. You know, Troy, I don't know the last time you've been to a game. I'm a season ticket holder, and I'm frustrated. I'm allowed to be. But the Giants right now, you know, the Dodgers are so far ahead of us, it's ridiculous. Arizona is younger, more talented, has a better pitching staff than us. The Padres have a better lineup than us, better everything. Yeah, the ownership's having problems, but they're better than us. So we're 4th out of 5 teams, and it's only going to be a matter of time with Colorado and all their prospects being young. They're ahead of us, and we're in the cellar. How can you be excited about being in the cellar? Oh, but we won 3. You know, you guys got to get off this thing that happened in the past. You know, it's just like the Niners. You guys are all excited about, oh, the Niners made the Super Bowl. We didn't win it. Who cares? Nobody remembers who finished it second. You know, same thing with the Warriors. You should be frustrated. You know, 3 and 5 years. But now, right now, they've, you know, I mean, what's the score right now? They're losing to the Bulls. Okay, a team with a under 500 record. The Warriors are a disaster. The whole Bay Area is a disaster. The only team with really a future are the Sharks, and that's because they're playing the youth. They're playing the young. And you know what? This Sharks team, especially after the other night where they led 7-1 and they lost to Nashville, they're going to come back. Next year, they're going to be a better team. One of the things that Dan keeps bringing up is the Giants never give the young guys an opportunity. And if we would have done this 4 years ago, 3 years ago, even last year, we would now be a year ahead. But instead, we have all these question marks. You know, you guys all love Webb. Oh, Webb. Does anybody know that Webb's now a new dad? Kid's 3 months old. You know what that means? That means when the season starts, he's going to have a baby for the first time who's 6 months old. He's not going to get any sleep. He's not going to use that as an excuse. But as you guys know, when you have kids, that first year and your first kid, everything changes. You know, how do you know his mind's going to be 100% on the game? You know, and then when you guys take Webb away our lineup, who's not even an ace, he's a solid number 2. We have all question marks. We have young guys that last year were huge disappointments. Our bullpen is a disaster. You know, our bench is a disaster. We still don't have a first baseman. Is anybody excited about late night Lamont and William Flores as our first baseman? They might be the two worst first basemen in the whole entire National League. How can you be excited about that? Second baseman, we have a guy that played great last year for 6 weeks. Okay, so we have a lot of problems on this team. I mean, the list is so long. We have horrible ownership. We have a GM that doesn't know what he's doing. Guy in baseball operations that was a great player, but's never done his job. We have a manager who I thought was good maybe 10 years ago, who I don't think is that good. You know, we have new coaches again that we're not sure of. I mean, this team, as Dan said the other night, has more question marks. And, you know, this season might be worse than last year. And last year we were 80-82. How can you guys be excited about that? Dodgers are better. We all know that. Diamondbacks are better. I mean, we're probably battling with Colorado for last place in the NL West. Boy, that's exciting. You know, I mean, I don't know how else you guys feel, but, you know, I'm sort of, as in the great movie Network, I'm as mad as hell, and I don't want to take it anymore. So, yeah, I mean, Wade was horrible from the injury. We don't know if he's going to come back, you know, so we have a lot of problems. Yeah, I know. Sharks playing Nashville again after the other night. I played Nashville on the puck line. I thought thought the way he had to do it. But guys, Dan's just trying to figure it out. And once he gets on, we will come back. You know, it's going to be a long year. And I've been saying for 4 months, I predict, and if I'm wrong, I'll be the first to say I'm wrong. But by the time May 1st happens, the Giants will be between 10 and 15 games out. If you guys have not seen, we open up on the road, very tough place in Houston, where we never play good. A huge advantage for the Astros. Then we go to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's good, guys. Cincinnati's good. They have a superstar. They have better pitching. And then we come home for Seattle, where Seattle has had the best pitching in the American League last year. And that's how we start. Our schedule the first 2 months is brutal. Brutal. Our road trips, we go to Yankee Stadium. We go to the Mets. I think we go to Philly. I mean, it's brutal. So that's what it is. It's just one of those things. You know, we got to have to suffer. Buster sign Alonso. Guys, Alonso's not going to put us in the postseasons. They'll just make us more competitive. But why do you think the Giants would sign Alonso? You guys got to start realizing something. When something makes sense, the Giants don't do it. Okay? They don't do it. I mean, the Giants are very lucky that it's an unbalanced schedule. Dan's trying to come back. It's black with a white line through it. We're close. But you know, it's gonna be tough, guys. Our schedule. I mean, I'm gonna here, since I can't do it on my own, I'll do it here. Let's see the Giants schedule. I'm just gonna go over it because I don't have the technology to put it up in front of us. But here's the schedule to start the season, guys. And I want you guys to know the key to the Giants is staying close. Okay. And the key thing is trying to win series. Okay. So we start off the season at Cincinnati. Tough place to play. Ballpark flies out. Okay. Then we go 3 to Houston. Then we come home. Our home opener, Seattle Mariners. Better pitching than us, guys. Better pitching. Then we have the Cincinnati Reds here. And then we go on the road to Yankee Stadium, Philly for 4. I mean, how many games do you think we're going to beat the Yankees and Philly at their home park? Maybe 2-5, 1-6. And then we go to the Angels. I know the Angels are bad, but, you know, it's still a road trip. Then we come home for Milwaukee, who's good. Texas for 3. Texas this year, guys, mark my word, every other year, you guys know what that means with Bochy. Texas is going to win the American League West. I got them at 6-1. Get it in now. Right? Then we go to San Diego. And then, of course, we play Colorado here. But last year, if you guys remember, after the All-Star break, we'll beat Colorado. It was a disaster. The opening part of the season, guys, is extremely tough. This team needs to get back and get going because if they're down 8-10 games, we don't know what to expect. Sorry, Dan. How you doing? Welcome back.
Man, my regular camera stopped working, so I'm using the computer's camera.
Why?
What's that?
You're good looking.
Geez. I don't know.
To see you.
This Logitech camera just went kaput. It's not recognizing the USB, so I don't know what the heck's going on with it. So I'll probably have to go buy another dang camera. One of those days I'm having. I had my Maui Jim sunglasses that in Arizona you got to wear sunglasses.
Of course.
385 days a year. Yeah, I said 385. I know I'm making a point. You got to wear them basically when you freaking
wake
outside.
up.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, it was cold today. So I'm at Costco and I, says, well, I'm going to put I always have my sunglasses kind of like this. Right?
Oh yeah. We got to get you a croaky so you can put it around your neck.
Yeah.
And
so I took my hat off to put my sweatshirt on. And I guess when I took the hat off, the sunglasses fell. I got into Costco because I had to return something. And
you didn't know they were even gone, right?
And
you didn't even know they were gone.
And then I checked on my head and I go, oh, jeez, my sunglasses are gone. So and they're $200+ Maui Jims.
Yeah.
And I go back to my car looking for it. I'm like looking all around. I'm looking where I put my sweatshirt on because I don't like to wear a sweatshirt in the car. It's just too hot. So, and I go to the other side. Well, maybe because I had to get something out of the car to return. It was open the other door. Well, maybe it was there. No. So as I'm looking around, I says, gosh darn it. Maybe somebody picked them up and they just took them that quick. And as I'm looking, the car to the left of me is leaving. And as she backs out, I hear crunch.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
So they got run over.
Yes. They were under her car. Probably the kind of day I was having today, probably good that I didn't see him because I probably would have reached for him and not even realized she was backing up and had my hand run over.
Serendipity. Everything happens for a reason.
I had to get somewhere this morning and I'm working on something for work and I'm writing stuff down and I give me a FedEx tracking number and I'm writing it down and in my lap, I forgot I had a tall glass of water with lemon juice in it because I drink a little bit of lemon juice with water every morning. And the thing just fell, the whole thing, like 15 ounces all over my shoes in the car. So I was like, okay, pull over, get the weatherproof mat out. So at least it didn't get on the carpet or anything. Got that out, wiped my leg. I was wearing shorts, so got that done. And then now it's just one of those crazy things.
Bo is rub off on you, huh?
Oh yeah, and I can't even show you Bo right now because I can't take this camera off and turn it. I'm using the little dot on my laptop. Bo has this. What do you call those things again?
The cones.
The cone. The dude has run into me 150 times today on the back of my calves. Wherever I'm going, he's following me and he's just ramming me like a battering ram because he wants to be by me for wherever I go. He wasn't this way until the surgery.
Wow.
Now he's like, oh gosh. So the poor guy, he's sitting right here. He's doing well though.
He's recovering.
He's wagging his tail. He's wanting to run, but I can't let him run because he's got stitches from his neutering too.
Yeah.
So I didn't really want to neuter him right away, but they said, no sense.
Yeah, no sense. Might as well
no sense of doing anesthesia twice on the guy.
Yeah.
So,
It's not
So
fair to them.
he's coming around. But the tail, even though it's shorter, it's still wagging all the time. So anyway, guys, I guess we'll go without my. Is the camera look okay? This particular
Yeah,
one?
you look good.
All right. It's just all right. I'm used to more of a.
I mean,
better
it's still
quality.
your room is still very lit, very well, very
All right,
bright.
All right. Well, the topic tonight was
Yeah.
the Giants. Will Posey and Minasian succeed? And there's mixed things. Okay, we talked about they're taking over the worst ranked farm system. They've got some holes to fill on the big league roster. Their pitching's doesn't have a lot of depth to it. They've got holes right now. First base, second base is up in the air. We don't know if Fitzgerald's going to be good or not. If he's not, does Casey Schmidt take over, and is he good or not? And then we've got the whole situation in one of the corners. We don't know if they're going with Yaz, then forget it. If they say Yaz is our everyday right fielder for the most part, then just write this thing off into the sunset, because that tells me two things. One, they don't know how to read a room. They're not talented at what they do. If you're going to go with a guy like Yaz, who's going to be 35, instead of playing Matos, I will give him time and see what happens. I will not make my judgment right now. But if Yaz is the right fielder and Matos is having just an adequate enough spring, he should be playing, because you've got to find out if the young kids can play. And you're not going to compete for the division title. You're probably not competing for a wild card, although I think they believe they are. I really do. I think they believe they are. So I think with what I want to talk about with Posey, great players don't always make great executives. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But let's take a look at some great players who became bad executives. All right. The list is long, guys.
And are we just doing baseball or all?
No,
sports?
just all. Yeah. So this is 5 years ago, too. 6 years ago, almost 2019. Great players who became bad executives. Okay. At this top, we've first one of 25, Isaiah Thomas, horrible executive.
Horrible.
Okay. Norm Van Brocklin, you remember him, the football player, not a great executive or coach or general manager of Atlanta. Brett Hull, the great hockey player with the St. Louis Blues, not much when it came to executive. Kevin McHale, he failed at Houston, right? Minnesota, right? Yeah. Well, no, Houston, he was the coach. Minnesota, he was the GM.
Yeah, okay.
Billy Knight, he was a two-time All-Star basketball player with Atlanta Hawks. Didn't do well. Charlie Granger, an old-time baseball player back in the 30s. Doc Rivers did okay at coaching, but not as an executive.
No.
Okay. Bobby Charlton. Bobby Charlton might as well be Tom Smith. I don't know who Bobby Charlton is. Oh, soccer. Okay. Mike Milbury, the hockey player, spent 12 years with Boston and was part of the Boston rosters that lost in 78 Stanley Cup Finals. He was named team's coach, general manager, and let's just say he disappointed in that role through. Okay. Elgin Baylor was never good with the Clippers. Ken Harrelson, the ball player who also is announcer for the White Sox, didn't do well in the front office. Joe Cronin, another great baseball player, Hall of Famer, not good. Jim Paxton, Chicago Bulls, not good. John Paxton, his brother, I believe, not good. Chris Mullen, we know locally, he didn't fare horrible with the Warriors.
Horrible.
Joe Canar, again, that's more hockey or soccer, I guess, right? Wes Unseld, he was a great 4-5, power forward center with the old Washington Bullets. Didn't do well. Larry Wilson, the wide receiver, or no, safety. He was a safety. That's right, with the Arizona Cardinals. Willis Reed, another bomb. Bart Starr, he was awful with the Packers. How about Magic Johnson? He was horrible with the Lakers. Derek Jeter, horrible with the Marlins. Wayne Gretzky, horrible. I mean,
Arizona.
look at the last 3 guys that I just named, or 4. Bart
Hall of
Starr,
Famers.
Magic Johnson, Derek Jeter, Wayne Gretzky, Hall of Fame. Matt Millen, he was with the 0-16 Lions, wasn't he? Wasn't he?
Yes.
Yes, he was. He was
Yep.
the GM of the 0-6. How about this? Michael Jordan. Okay, guys, what Buster is doing is not a slam dunk because, look, who's more competitive than Michael Jordan?
Nobody.
Nobody. And everybody says, yeah, but Buster, he's super competitive. And he's a guy that, you know, he's a winner. He hates to lose and he'll figure it out. He's smart. Kyle says Magic's turned things around now. I guess he's just ownership. Well, he's a small part of the Dodgers. That's all. And isn't he with the Washington Commanders too?
Commanders too. Yeah, he owns.
So, I mean,
yeah, but being an owner is a lot different than being in the front
an
office.
executive. Yeah, the front office.
And Dan, I got a few other people here. You know, he's talking about basketball play. Larry Bird.
Oh, Larry Bird,
probably one of the most clutch players, but he was in the front office with Indiana. He even tried to coach Indiana as a disaster.
I think he might be on the list of who became good executives. I think. I don't know.
You know, I mean,
there he is. There he is. Yeah. Here's the now here's a list of players who became great executives. We're going to give you both sides. We're not going to. So we're not just giving you one side.
I only, when you think of this, I've only thought of maybe a person that was a great player and a great GM. Only one name comes to mind. So let me see if he's on this.
Let me guess who you're thinking. Elway?
I thought he was a horrible executive. When's the last time he had a quarterback?
All right. Let me see. We'll see who's on the list. Let's see if he's on the list.
And you'll know who it is right away when you see him.
Okay. There's Billy Beane. He was
horrible player, but a great executive.
Yeah. So I think what the subject really is really, really good or great players who became executives. Kind of hard. Danny Ainge, John Elway, they've got on here. He did get Super Bowls, right? He did get a couple of Super Bowls with.
Great player. But I'm saying from playing where he was a Super Bowl champ.
No, he got a Super Bowl with Eli. I mean,
with Manning his last year, 41 or 42. In fact, the game was here.
Yeah.
You know, one of the worst Super Bowls of all time, but they did win it. But he's gone through, I think it's him as a GM, I think probably 7 quarterbacks in like 12 years.
Yeah. Wayne Embry. Okay. He is Steve Yzerman, the hockey player.
Steve Yzerman,
Yzerman, I mean, with the Detroit Red Wings, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Larry Bird is on here. Larry Bird made it to the NBA Finals twice. That's not bad. That's not bad. You can't knock a guy for getting there. John Lynch might be on this list. No, because this was made in 2019, so he's not going to be on it. Hank Greenberg, the old ball player. Troy Vincent. Let's see if he was the defensive back for the Patriots, right? And Eagles. Yeah. Ron Hextall,
the goalie.
I think, wasn't he a goalie? Yeah. Mitch Kupchak from North Carolina.
Yeah, he hasn't been the greatest for LA.
I don't think he's been that great of a GM. This is a stretch. This one for sure.
Yeah. Remember, he was the GM, and he's not the one that got Kobe. George
Brett. I don't remember him being much of an executive for Kansas City. Do you?
Well, when the Giants beat him, he was in the owner's box. I didn't know what type. He might be one of these guys, and a consultant. You don't
Jim
know.
Finks. Wasn't he with the Saints, right? Jim Finks. Yeah. Vlade Divac. Come on. Vlade Divac?
Was horrible with Sacramento.
How did they get this guy on here?
He was horrible.
Come on. He
turned him into mush.
Jeff Petrie. Okay. He played with the Portland Trailblazers, I remember. Eddie Collins.
My God, that's 1920.
George Hollis? Yao Ming? Come on. This is stretching it. Joe Torre. That's
Now,
even.
I don't remember Joe really being, he worked more for the major leagues, but I just remember as a manager with St.
Right.
Louis. And then, of course, that.
Yeah, I think they got him as MLB's chief baseball. Okay, Joe
Yeah.
Dumars, Cam Neely. Are we serious? Ozzie Newsom's the guy you're thinking of. No, because he's been
great
a good
player,
executive.
and he's helped.
He's helped
good
with Baltimore. He's
But there's
done
one
really
guy.
well with Nolan Ryan. Come on, Mario Lemieux, Jerry West. There he is. That's the guy, right?
He's the all-time.
Yes, that's it.
I mean,
that's it. That's it. Jerry West. Okay, now
that's who I think of. So
was George Brett in the front office much with Kansas City? I don't recall that.
I think when he was in it when we beat them, they won it the following year, and then they released they couldn't afford it. But yeah, he was part of them.
Interesting, because to me, that list maybe had less than, on the good side, less than 7, probably less, around 5 that I could look at and say, Jerry West is one. Mario Lemieux, I don't know much what he did with the Penguins in the front office.
And you got to remember, Pittsburgh was a small market team. It was all the Steelers. People didn't even know who the Penguins were. That's how small they were.
I can give Joe Dumars because he helped the Pistons. I remember that. He put the Pistons together to win the 2004 finals.
But did they do anything after the Bad Boys when they were done?
Yeah, they won in 04.
With the Bad Boys. Okay.
Yeah, they won in 04. They won with Rip Hamilton and the 04 team, and they had the Wallace guys. So I would say that Joe Dumars, Ozzie Newsome, and for sure Jerry West. So 3. But like I say, there's probably not 5. But I think the list on the bad players, those are pretty accurate.
What do you think of Al? What do you think of a former Giant executive, Al Rosen? He was a pretty decent player. He was a decent GM.
Al Rosen was a good GM for the Giants. Al Rosen was a good GM. So getting back to Buster and Minasian, Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups. That's right, David. They had Chauncey Billups, Ben Wallace, and they had Rasheed Wallace as well. Yeah. So to me, anytime you win you're the executive that puts together a team and you get to the NBA finals or any finals or win it, you were pretty successful. So Buster's I don't know if Buster will be in this job long enough for us to see real success. I'm not sure, because I could see after 3 years of
frustration
that this thing's
and Dan, I don't want this to happen, knock on wood, but with our past, you got to think of it. What happens if something happens to Eldridge? Like maybe a freak accident, he's in AAA, he gets hit, hurts his wrist. I'm just saying, because we don't have anyone behind him, right? And the other thing I brought up when you went out is this year, we have our guys that love Webb. I never knew, but today, I found out he's got his first baby, 3-month-old. So that means when the season starts, his baby's going to be 6 months old. Everything changes, guys, when you have your first kid. Okay. Baseball's not your number one priority. It's your family. Everything changes. So, it's just life, so I'm just saying, there's a lot of problems that could happen. Maybe Webb's not fully, I'm not saying he's not going to be committed, but he's, he was on 95.7 and they're saying, yeah, it's pretty rough. I'm not getting much sleep. Well, what do you expect? You have a 3-month-old, it's going to get easier, but when the season starts, the kid's going to be 6. You're going to go through teething. Your wife's going to be pissed because all you're doing is trying to go to work when not taking care of the kid. A lot of distractions. Then if you take Webb not there 100%, Buster really hasn't really given us a backload. Like, I look at our first base, and when you went out, I think we have the worst first basemen in the league. Okay. We have 2 guys, a righty and a lefty. Our righty is now 39 years old, can't hit anymore, had the worst year, coming off his worst year. And late night Lamont was not the same player after he got injured. We have a lot of holes. And the one thing, it's just one of those things. There's a lot of stuff where we're going into spring training where we have more questions than last year, and last year we finished 4th out of 5 teams, and the 3 teams above us are better.
Yes, Elon does need to buy the team. Yes, I tell you, it's concerning to me that they're not doing anything to, it appears, to go out and get an Alonso. I like the Adames move. I'm not like ecstatic about the Verlander move, but I'm not also way down on it because he's an experienced guy that still
He's a professional.
Yeah,
a lot of these other guys are not professionals. He's not going to hurt the team. I just hope he can help us, maybe giving us quality starts.
Right. If he does that, it's so. I mean, in that case, it's not a bad move adding Verlander. So I just think that it's going to have to be a situation where what you might see is they really fall apart. But sometimes that could be a very good thing. The good thing could be, you gotta, what's the thing? You gotta something so
Fall
you can
from
see
grace
the light
before you can see reality hit again. I mean, I wouldn't, I tell you, Dan, and I said this when you were having technical difficulties, is the first 6 weeks of the season is extremely hard for 2 reasons. We go on the road, very tough places to play: Houston, Cincinnati. Our home openers against Seattle. It sounds probably easy, but Seattle has great pitching, guys, right? Our road trip, we got to go to Philadelphia and the Yankees, 7-game road trip. That's going to be extremely tough. So the Giants are sort of up against it. And I could see this team, if we say by May 2nd or 3rd, before we go to Chicago, we're like 10-20. The best thing is when's the trade deadline? Let's get rid of the deadwood and let's just play the youth, which is something we should have done 2 years ago.
Yeah. Imagine.
It's one of those things, and the reason why, you guys, we keep saying this is if we would have done this 2 years ago, we wouldn't be where we are now. We would know if these guys are good. And if they're good, then we have a team. If they're not good, we would get rid of them and try to get new stuff, because right now the cupboard is very dry. We have the goldfish.
Got crumbs.
We got crumbs from the goldfish that are left over, and we're getting ants. And it's not like, the Bay Area right now, it's tough. The Warriors are struggling. The Niners struggled. I mean, I can't remember a time where really all 4 Bay Area teams have really struggled like this. And the worst is we're not even winning. We're all below 500.
Right.
And it's just one of those things. But being a fan that's why you got to appreciate it when you do win the big one. When the Giants won in 2010, I always say it's the only time I've been at a bar where people are excited and grown men were crying. And that happened because nobody thought we would ever win it in our lifetime. I heard that growing up. Oh, I hope the Giants win before grandpa dies or my dad dies or before and we got to see it. And, maybe it's one of those things. We got it in 10, 12, and 14. And not did we get 1. We got 3 in our lifetime, but that's all we're going to get. Because right now, I have telescopes and I don't see us anywhere close to the finish line. I mean, we're not even, and we use what lane we're in. We're still stuck in the rest area waiting for AAA to help us out. Why the Dodgers just go 100 miles an hour and everybody else goes by us, and we're only talking about 3 teams in our division that are good, right? In the NL West, guys, you don't realize Cincinnati's better than us. Washington, who's young, is going to be better than us. Last year we had an opportunity where maybe there were 7 teams competing for 5 spots. Now there's like 11, and we're not even one of the 11 for.
Well, you're going to have the Cubs should win the Central. Pittsburgh could, and Cincinnati could contend for wild card, or Chicago or Cincinnati could win the division. Milwaukee, they're always outperform. They always seem to do better than you expect. I mean, the bottom of that division
I'm looking at your hats.
Is St. Louis. I had to turn around. St. Louis will probably be the worst team in the division next year.
Yeah.
See,
you forget about the Mets were in the playoffs And they did pick up that guy. I forgot the guy who used to play for the Yankees. Hopefully he can help them a little bit. You know, he bats left.
Oh, Soto.
I think he's 29. And then you got to remember, guys, Atlanta Braves have 2 years ago the MVP coming back. Philadelphia knows it's going to be good. I mean, it's going to be extremely difficult for the Giants. And, this year, too, the one thing, too, is, guys, we're playing the good teams on the road. Okay? It's not like how we have the Yankees here like we did last year, where we had more of a better home schedule. It's tough. When you go on the road, it's tough to begin with. But our road trips are brutal. It's...
Yeah. I'm going to pull up their schedule here, and we'll take a look at this.
Yeah. Just see how you start. It's going to be rough.
Yeah.
Dallas, but we're not the same team as last year. We don't have Snell. We don't have Conforto. We don't have guys that we can count on. It's a total mystery. We don't know when Eldridge is coming up. I keep seeing these articles. Oh, he might be the best going to spring training. Buster knows what it takes to get to this level. He probably won't be up until June, but yeah, please take a look.
I would say they start their first road trip, my guess, and this could all change, guys. This is very preliminary. There's things that can be added. So this is just a quick exercise. It's probably an exercise in futility, but I'll say they go 2-4 on the opening road trip. They come home for 6. I think they'll probably split 3-3, and they might go 4-2. They could go 4-2. Let's say they go 4-2 and they go 2-4.
So they're 500.
They're 500. I think they go on the next road trip and lose at least 6. I mean, you got that. Wait, that's a 4-game series in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Plus 3 in the Yankees. That's 7-10. Yeah, I'll say they go 3-7 on that trip.
And then you fly all the way from Philly, and then you fly all the way to LA for the Angels.
Yeah, I say they'll go 3-7 on that trip. So there were 500, so they're 4 under. They come home for 4-7. I think they go 4-3 at home, and they go to San Diego and split. So they end the month of, say, 3 under. 3 under. And then you go into May, and you could get healthy in May. Because Colorado, you got home for 4. They should be able to win 3 of 4.
I heard that last year after the All-Star break, remember? We played Colorado. Yeah. We should be able to sweep them, and that was a disaster. 1-3 we went.
So, I mean, we'll figure it out. We'll break it down as we get closer to the regular
But you understand
season.
That's pretty tough to start.
The first month looks kind of tough. Yeah. But if they can, and they kind of did this last year, just hang around 500.
Yeah, that's what Boris said. We just got to stay close to 500. We just can't get buried right away.
Yeah. I mean, the Giants have some talented players that could surprise. We'll see. If Fitzgerald plays decent second base and actually gets on base and makes more contact, cuts his strikeout rate in the low 30s down to, the mid, 24, 25%, it's better. It's not great, but he's got to make some improvement. I wouldn't expect him to go under 20% next year. But if he can start stealing bases and then Matos gets a nod and gets to play, you never know. Hey, Cole's coming down for spring training. Okay.
Have fun.
I can't tell you there's a lot of places in Scottsdale, Cole. Lots of places. Scottsdale, North Phoenix, if you want to spend a little less but still be in a nice area, somewhere around the 101.
Is he looking for a place to stay or places just to party at after?
I'm not sure.
The other thing too is look up Scottsdale Stadium, and they have hotels they recommend in the area and restaurants.
Yeah.
And always when you're down there, make reservations. You can always cancel because it gets pretty crazy.
Yep. So imagine what it was like in the 2010, 12, 14 that era is 15 after 15, 16. I mean, everybody was coming down to watch the Giants. It was nuts. So,
I mean, Southwest, they had to keep adding flights because everyone was full of just Giant fans going down there.
I can remember the pride I felt driving down across, Scottsdale Stadium around I don't know what year it was, 12, 14, but seeing home of the world champions on the outside, and they got that brick kind of similar
Oh yeah,
to Oracle. And you're just kind of like, dang, man,
you
that's
felt proud.
you
You
felt
felt
proud.
really proud.
That is the stadium where the world champions play. And you just felt like there was an aura. There was an awe around that franchise. And it was like, you know what? This is the best team in baseball right
Yeah.
here.
The
And
Giants reminded me of like my college alumni, but the Giants, I was part of the alumni. And when the Giants were winning, I couldn't wait when I woke up. What time is the game tonight? I had to get my dinner ready. I had to make sure the TV was working, cable was paid, and all this stuff, And I had more Giants. I mean, I probably had 15 knit hats from every year, world champion stuff. Even though I had it from 2 years before, I felt proud. And what was great is you saw the whole city was like that.
Right.
You saw them everywhere. Spring training. You go on a flight to Scottsdale, you'd run into at least 3 or 4 other Giants fans. People are giving high five on the plane. If it's a morning plane, let's have a beer. Let's get ready for the game. But you know what? It's gone.
Right.
It's really gone, and Oracle Park is still there. Pac Bell, SB Park, whatever. It's gone through so many changes. But, it's when you used to walk into Oracle Park, especially like when Bonds played or when we had a winning team and you knew they had a chance to win every game, you felt the vibe. There is no vibe right now.
None at
People
all.
are there. It's almost, and again, it goes back when before the new ballpark, and Dan knows this, there was probably 9 to maybe 11,000 real San Francisco Giant fans. That opening day was priority. I have to be there, right? When the Giants are on TV, Monday Night Baseball, when the Dodgers are in town, it didn't matter what you do, you did it. It was such a big thing. If you get married in April, are you sure it's not opening day? Are you sure? I got to be there. And you felt like you were letting the team down if you weren't there, with either the new lid, the new jersey, all this stuff, and unfortunately now when you go to the games, it's almost like, wait a minute, isn't the first pitch in 20 minutes? Half the people aren't sitting down. People are rather just sitting, drinking inside. They're not even there for the national anthem. It's missing a lot. And this is something that, hopefully Buster can bring back. Cause you know what? I know you guys might not like baseball as much as maybe basketball or football. Maybe you think baseball is boring, but the purists, baseball is like life. Everyone knows opening day. It's a priority. One of the things, Dan was on a show with Eric the other day, which makes you a great baseball fan, is, I was at the lowest game ever at Candlestick. 739 people. It was a Tuesday night against the Padres. The Giants, I think that year went like probably 62 and 100. But I always went to the games. I had tickets. I loved going. I went, going for batting practice, getting foul balls, coming to the new ballpark. I love going on your club level, seeing all the trophies, the 3 trophies, seeing a bunch of the old players, and I think really one of the things about Farhan is he destroyed all that. When I heard what he did in the locker room, he took all the stuff down. It's like, and
I don't mean to be,
you're taking away history.
Yeah, I don't mean to be, what's the right word I want to use? But I don't mean to be a jerk or be make this political type thing. But what he did in the world of life, that's borderline treasonous. I think you could have grounds for
dismissal.
Not only dismissal, but like not a flogging, but maybe like water balloons thrown at the dude, like tied up against the fence in center field, and maybe eggs or something. The backdrop of the green fence, and everybody gets to, I let him put a helmet on for his face and
For
stuff.
protection.
But the guy should have some definitely should have been humiliated for that. You took down.
And he destroyed Murphy. Murphy was probably more well known when they came from New York out here. He was as famous as Willie Mays, McCovey, and then it was probably Murphy, because Murphy was there, 60 years? I mean, he was part of San Francisco baseball, and you came in, he retired, and you destroyed his office. I
mean, Farhan I'm just going to leave it there. I would have, if I was running that organization and I found out about that, he would have been fired, but it would have been public embarrassment.
And you saw what Will Clark said, right? Being a former Giant great. I mean, he was outraged.
Yeah, he should be. Well, let's wrap up this final.
Yeah. And Dan, I'm not really sure what Buster could do. What do you think he could do?
Well,
is it more just giving him time, or see how it goes? Or, as I've said, is he just a name where he's taking the abuse for everybody else because maybe he was the only guy that had a sack, says, I will try. I just don't want Farhan there. I will try, and, let me see what I can do. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that, because that's what I kind of wanted to close with Buster. What are the odds? I don't know what he can do with this particular ownership group, because it's obvious they've handcuffed him, and he's trying. You've done a horrible disservice to a guy who took the job with excitement, and it's like you taking a brand new job. You say, okay, you're going to run our company, and you're the top guy. You get to run the company, but you can't do this, this, and this. And we're going to just to make your job a little bit more challenging, we're going to put some handcuffs on you. And you're going to have to keep it positive. So when you sign guys like, Toasty Mosty, you're going to say, we're really high on Toasty Mosty. We think he's a guy that, he's better than, he can bring it. Toasty Mosty is, he can bring it. And hey, yeah, we're really excited about our youth, and we really think that Fade Fleckler is really going to surprise people. So I think what you did to him by giving him the job, or him just wanting it and assuming, you handcuffed him, and now he's got to look like he's cautious. He has to look cautious because he's not doing anything really super aggressive right now when there's guys that are out there. So we'll see. We can still hold judgment, because he still could make a signing, or
and the season hadn't started yet.
Yeah.
We're
so
just seeing,
we'll wait.
We're being fans.
I want to get your prediction on percentage wise, 1 to 100. Does Buster Posey succeed in this job? And what I would consider success is getting to the playoffs on a regular basis, and the farm system is cooking with prospects, and has people that other teams want in trades. Not necessarily a championship, because I don't think we'll see a championship with the San Francisco Giants this decade, at least.
I think you're giving way too much credit. I would be happy in the next 3 years if we're within 5 games of the last playoff spot. I think this year we're going to finish exactly where we were next year. I think with the free agency class next year, it's not good. I think we have some bad contracts. We don't have anyone that is a stud. And I'm hoping Eldridge is just, above average player. And then by year 3, Buster's going to say, you know what, guys, let's get somebody else in. And if he says that, it's worse than we even think right now, because he's going in saying, hey, I love the challenge. He's been very successful. This is a guy that played all 9 positions in college. He's always been a winner. The Giants were very lucky to get him because they didn't think they could sign him. That's the only reason why he dropped down. He's in our lap. So you got to give him, I think, 3 years. But after 3 years, if we don't really see a difference, why would he want to stay in this job? He's actually taken what he has done, where he's on a level of giant greats, to now mediocrity, and he doesn't deserve it. And with the way it is right now, I think 3 years is more than enough. I just want to see us being positive. So if this year, say we finish, like, I think 78 and 84, I think we're going to 78 wins. Next year, we can maybe beat it by 5 and you give me 83 wins. And then by year 3, we're at 88 wins and we're sniffing, or we're somewhere we can see the playoffs in the bifocals, then I'll be happy. If not, I don't think he'll be around. And why would he want to be around?
Yeah. I mean, I can measure success if all of a sudden the farm system is producing guys and developing guys, and that, okay, hey, now, maybe Posey steps down, but they've got 5 top 100 prospects in 3 years. That's would be success, setting the team up for future success. But if percentage-wise, I would say they're probably more likely, I would put it like 40% chance of success.
I think that's a lot, because you're asking for a lot. You want the farm system to be above average, which right now we're dead last, and you want us to be competitive on the field and possibly close to a third wild card.
Yeah,
that's about 40%.
Yeah,
and you want the team to be exciting. Last year the team wasn't fun to watch sometimes, just like the Warriors right now. They're hard to watch at times.
Yeah. If it were me and I was running the team, I might run it into the ground. It might not be popular. It might not do well.
But in 4 years from now, we'll forget about we ran into the ground, because we're going to have success ahead of us.
But what I would do is I would aggressively go after stars, and I've talked about it ad nauseum.
Overpay.
I would
somehow.
Yeah, but I would bring in the right field. I would change from 365, cut off Triples Alley, make it 385, make it a hitter's park, so I can go out and get the top free agents, because I can afford to pay them. I've got cash that I'm printing with Mission Rock. I don't have to worry about it. My payroll would probably be closer to 300 million. 300. I mean, it'd be up there.
And you got to remember, the A's are gone. The A's are in Vegas. They're not anywhere. You're the big daddy of the town.
Right.
You own it.
I would start making trades, moving guys. I would try to trade the guys right now that I have. I would have a 4 or 5 year plan, and my plan would be in 5 years to be a perennial 95 win team. And I think you can do it if you started trading off some of the top guys you got right now for young prospects, rebuild, and then start signing free agents. That, you're going to have Eldridge. Hopefully he hits well and becomes a star. If he does, then he attracts others. You still got Adamas, you see, and you got Ramos. So it's a possibility that but I think it's going to be a long haul. I think this is going to be, they never did a full rebuild. So they're paying the price. What's going to be different in 25 and 26 versus 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24? What's really different? Because you're not, you're not really doing anything. You're not going for it all with spending money, or you're not really tearing it down. So I think it's going to be
safe.
I think it's going to be a middle of the road team for a long time. And that's, to me, telling you guys, That is the absolute worst place to be in sports, the middle, because you're not winning and you're not getting the top draft picks to rebuild. And yeah, Ben's AMG free agents, it's tough because they're in their 30s. That's why you got to go out and get guys like Kyle Tucker, who's 27 right now. You get guys that are in their 20s, mid to late 20s, that are going to be free agents. I'm really not for signing guys that are 32. I'm okay with signing a 30-year-old up through about age 34, like Alonso. I would give him 4 years, but I'm not giving guys that are turning 32 6-year deals. No, not going to do it. Graham says you either, in my humble opinion, need to tear down and rebuild or do as the Yankees, Dodgers do and go. That's exactly what I've been saying, Graham. Been saying on this show for 2 years, either pick a dang lane, spend or rebuild. So, but guys, thanks for joining this show. We do appreciate you guys. You mean a lot to us that you're here. We couldn't do the show without you. Make sure you give the show a like and subscribe. We won't be here tomorrow night. Friday night, I've got a commitment, so we'll take the night off. We will have some videos out tomorrow, so make sure you watch those 8 to 12 minute videos, comment on them, like them, build them up. It helps our channel grow. And frankly, I think those 8 to 12 minute videos have a lot to say in a short, compact area where I can really give you some solid information on different subject matters. So we do, again, thank you. We will catch the videos tomorrow. We'll catch you on Saturday night. I don't think there's anything going Saturday night. Oh, we got Warriors-Lakers. That's right. We got Warriors-Lakers Saturday night. So we'll come on after that.
5:30 game, I think. Yeah, so about 7:45, the usual.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.